the cool kids, they're all heading down to Mar-a-Lago. And Mark Zuckerberg's like, wait a second, why am I being left out? This is the Facebook founder, now known as Meta. So he's like, why not me? Why not me? Why not me? Well, you know, a few things going on there. You did take Donald Trump off of your platform for some rather long period of time, did you not? You did censor a whole lot of stuff on Facebook for a whole lot of time, did you not? And then there's this little squabble that you have with Elon Musk, who's ready, willing, and able to fight you any day of the week. I mean, he wants a big on. This is like, you know, martial arts style fighting. He wants to be in the ring.
I'll fight him. I'll fight Zuckerberg any place, anytime, any rule.
Can I get a picture with you? No, sorry. Get a picture.
Hey, maybe they go to Mar-a-Lago. Maybe they can fight there. What do you know? Well, I'm telling you, Zuckerberg wants in. He wants in. He just went down to kiss the ring. So he went to Mar-a-Lago, and he is grateful, he says, for the invitation. And he basically wanted that meeting in order to kind of make sure that he is included in some of these tech discussions that they're having over the future of technology. Because the future of technology obviously is really, really, really important. Mark Zuckerberg wants in. I don't know if there's a lot of warmth, shall we say, there.
Mark Zuckerberg, who used to come to the White House and kiss my ass.
Okay. Well, now he's going somewhere else to kiss his, as they say. Mark Zuckerberg dines with Trump at Mar-a-Lago after pushing for a meeting to discuss new administration. He is so grateful for this invitation. Now, yes, why would he do this? Why would the head of Meta, there's some obvious reasons, right? Like, it's good for business. You don't want to be on the bad side of Donald Trump. But let's start with best case scenario, shall we? Like, let's pretend that he is completely altruistic, which he is not. But let's just assume that he actually is trying to do the right thing. I mean, if you recall, he did say this immediately after the attempt on Trump's life. He sat down with my former colleague from Bloomberg, Emily Chang. She has a tech show out of San Francisco. And he told her this.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Well, here's another.
I do think that Elon led a push early on to make Twitter a lot leaner. You can agree or disagree with exactly all the tactics and how he did that. Obviously, every leader has their own style for if you need to make dramatic changes for that, how you're going to execute it. But a lot of the specific principles that he pushed on around basically trying to make the organization more technical, around decreasing the distance between engineers at the company and him, like fewer layers of management. I think that those were generally good changes. And I also think that it was probably good for the industry that he made those changes, because my sense is that there were a lot of other people who thought that those were good changes, but who may have been a little shy about doing them. And I think he, just in my conversations with other founders, and how people have reacted to the things that we've done, what I've heard from a lot of folks is just, hey, when someone like you, when I wrote the letter outlining the organizational changes that I wanted to make back in March, and when people see what Elon is doing, I think that gives people the ability to think through how to shape their organizations in a way
Okay. So the point is he's trying to lay it on thick, and he's trying to kiss Elon's, you know what now, okay? So like from Elon to Trump, like Mark is like, let me in, please. Can I sit at your lunch table? I mean, I did write that letter, did I not, to Jim Jordan? I did point out that we got way too entrapped in God knows what, right? Back in 2021. In other words, yeah, the government was in there manipulating them, telling them they couldn't do this, they could do that. And as a result, we kind of feel bad. They thought it was Russian disinformation. Remember? Oh, because that's what the FBI said. The FBI told us that the Biden family and the Burisma thing, that was all part of Russian misinformation, disinformation, right? That's why you couldn't talk about the laptop. I personally got myself kicked off of Facebook for a year because I shared a story about the laptop. They actually full on shadow banned me, and they told me. Like that was just, and they couldn't do anything about it because I was like, oh gosh, if you're that upset, I can take the story down. And I didn't know that if you took the story down, that's like admitting drunk driving. Like that's like admitting, it's like not taking the breathalyzer. So they wouldn't do a darn thing about it. I mean, they took the president off. I have so many friends that have been affected by this. I continue to be affected by it. I'm happy to tell you about that. But look, here's the reality. They bought it hook, line, and sinker. They bought all of it. And they actually shut down people's accounts, including the president of the United States, because of it. I mean, all of them were in on this. Think about 60 Minutes as well.
This story about Hunter and his laptop. Some
Significant things.
I'm telling story about Hunter and his laptop. Some repair shop found it. The source is Steve Bannon and Rudy Giuliani.
I don't know anything about that. I just know it's a laptop, and they haven't.
And you're making this one of the hottest, most important issues in your rallies.
It's a very important issue to find out whether or not a man's corrupt who's running for president, who's accepted money from China and from Ukraine and from Russia.
All these
I think
things
that's
have
an
been
important
investigated and
It's incredible the way you can try and say this and sit there and look me in the eye and say it. He accepted money, his family, from Russia, from Ukraine, from China, and from other places. His brother, who didn't have experience, became a big builder in Iraq without experience. Take a look at what's going on, Leslie. And then you say that shouldn't be discussed.
I'm saying
it's the biggest scandal out there, Leslie, and you don't cover it.
Because it can't be verified.
You want to talk about insignificant things.
I'm telling you.
Of course it can be verified. Excuse me, they found the laptop. Leslie.
Can't be verified.
What can't be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say
Right. So you see, Facebook was part of this as well. And now they regret it. Now they live to regret it. He sent a letter to Honorable Chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, basically saying, gee, we're sorry. And you know what? We won't do this again. We kind of screwed up. So, okay. All right. So let's just, take him at his word. Like maybe he really is sorry. Maybe he's really bummed out that he got duped, kind of like George Clooney. George Clooney got duped into writing that op-ed saying Biden should leave, and now he's all mad at Obama about it. Well, somebody else got duped too. But you know what? I'll tell you who's not buying any of it. The guy who may be the new head of the FBI, one Kash Patel.
Zuckerberg is a fraud, pretending to care about American democracy and the election. This guy spent $400 million last election cycle, and I don't care what he says. He is going to spend money somehow, some way in this election cycle. And let's put that aside. He owns one of the largest social media companies on earth in Facebook, Meta, and Instagram. I didn't hear the CEO and owner, Mark Zuckerberg, come out and say, I guarantee you my companies will not participate in censorship at the behest of the FBI or anyone else in the federal government, like we did in the last two elections, like we did with Hunter Biden's laptop, like we did with the 51 Intel letter. He could have said that. But he didn't, because he wants it to happen. And as a sort of proactive, preemptive move to say, oh, I told you so, he came out to the media and said, my bad, I'm sorry. But it doesn't matter to these guys because they're going to go past November 5th. And if they get their way and Harris is awarded the victory, they're just going to be like, nothing to see here. And if Donald Trump wins, they'll come back and say, see, our companies tried to comply, but it's BS. And Zuckerberg is the biggest fraud in big business.
Okay, tell us how you really feel. So Kash Patel saying that Zuckerberg is totally a fraud. He has no use for him. The guy spent $400 million in the last election cycle trying to get Biden elected, took Trump off the platform, numerous other people off the platform, yours truly included. So, what use do we have for him now? Now you could say, okay, he's either just being, maybe he's waking up. Maybe he's waking up to what they did and understanding and realizing how bad it was. Or maybe he just sees which way the wind is blowing. He's got Nick Clegg, who runs his policy for him. And Nick is a former UK politician who is pretty liberal. I mean, he believed in a wealth tax. And he's now in charge of the policy. And he says, look, maybe we overdid it. This is according to a brand new article in the FT. We overdid it. We had, too much content moderation. And so maybe we need to back off that. Quote, per the Financial Times, Meta has conceded it was too heavy-handed with certain content moderation in the past. In an overture to Donald Trump as its chief executive, Mark Zuckerberg seeks a, quote, active role in shaping tech policy debates with incoming U.S. administration. Sir Nick Clegg, Meta's president of global affairs, said the social media platform obviously, quote, overdid it a bit when moderating pandemic-related content, a concession that appears designed to placate the president-elect, who has repeatedly accused the company of censorship and silencing conservative speech. Look, I don't know what they really believe. I know that for like 3 days, my channel got opened up over on Facebook, and then somehow the automated system decided I was actually about to hold political office. Hey, maybe I'm going to be the next chairman of the Fed. I'm teasing. I'm not going to hold political office. I have no interest in holding political office. I like very much what I'm doing here. I am a full-time podcaster and a mom, and no, I'm not holding political office. But for some reason, someone at Facebook thinks that that's what I am or am about to do. So just for everyone over at Facebook, no, Trish Regan is not going to be part of this administration. Trish Regan is going to stay here as host of the Trish Regan Show, where I will happily contribute my thoughts to whatever the administration is doing, good or bad, every single day, the journalist that I am, all right? So I mentioned that just because they completely demonetized the page and they said, no, you can't make any money on this. And, they're shadowing my ability to go out and reach you, which is why I'm really happy to be here streaming live on YouTube every single day, Monday through Friday. Make sure you sign up, you subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. I mentioned it. And by the way, we're not running live on Facebook today because apparently every time I do, I just get in trouble. We're not there today. And it's a shame because this is a very popular show. We've just been exploding. By the way, the video's on Spotify right now too. I'd love it if you could go over there and just give it 5 stars and subscribe because it helps. It helps. Every single bit helps. But I am committed to doing this, and I'm relieved and happy that I can have the platform to do this. So I don't know. I want to take them at their word. I think that everybody's been through a lot. I'd like to think that they're turning over a new leaf. We shall see. You know what? Verify, right? Trust but verify, to quote Reagan.